Today's episode is off the back of something that was written this week on X that is around fathers and play, and it received a hell of a lot of attention because it was, in my opinion, highly sort of almost controversial. And I just wanted to provide my thoughts on it, particularly because, I'm also a dad. I deal with a lot of guys day in and day out as part of my men's coaching. So I have a good insight into how other fathers feel about this. And also, I guess, just through other things that I've read and experienced myself. So how I'm going to do this, I'm going to read out what the guy actually wrote and then provide a little bit of commentary, maybe during. I'll see how I feel, how it kind of ruffles my feathers as I read along with it. And then give you a few more thoughts on, just my thoughts on dads and our sort of whole role when it comes to playing with our kids. So let me kick this off. I'm not going to read out the guy's name, but I'm sure if you're on X, you've definitely seen it. So here we go. Am I just a monster? It's been 4 years since I became a father, and I'm beginning to fear for my soul. The truth is, I just don't like being around kids for very long. Historically, this is not uncommon among fathers, but today it feels almost illegal. It's causing me a lot of confusion and anguish. The ideal amount of time I would like to spend playing with my kids is probably about 70 to 140 minutes a week, roughly 10 minutes each day, maybe 2 times a day taking breaks from work. My feelings of love toward them are perfectly strong, but if I have to watch them or entertain them for more than 10 minutes, my blood starts to boil. I just want to be working or accomplishing something. I try to be grateful, but it doesn't work. It's 9 a.m. this morning, Saturday, January 3rd. It's a sunny, warm day here in Austin, and my 4-year-old son is begging me to play catch in the street. I was drinking coffee, still waking up, so I didn't really feel like it. But at this age, his desire to play is insatiable. He begged and begged, so I conceded, and with a smile. I have no problem being a kind and loving father. The problem is only that I do not enjoy it. It's not that I'm trying to maximize my personal pleasure. It just seems wrong that I experience so little delight when my dad friends all claim to experience so much. It was beautiful. We live on a picturesque tree-lined block. I'm even relatively relaxed from the holiday rest. Playing catch with your son is supposed to be an iconic peak experience. Yet for every single minute on the inside, I just don't want to be there. I want to be drinking my coffee in peace. Then I feel guilty and absurdly ungrateful and ashamed when we're done. I know that when he is a teenager, I'll long to have these days back. I have all of this perspective rationally, and I've been very patient and steadfast trying to digest it, but nothing fixes me emotionally. Am I a terrible person? Or is my feeling within a certain range of historically normal and its modern parenting norms that are off? Whether it's my fault or not, I don't even care. I just want to figure this out. Something is wrong, and I no longer have the excuse of being new to this. Right. This bloke, I think he's got a few things going on, right? I just want to start off with, before he had a kid, this is in 2020, he wrote, "Another reason I want to have a baby is because I need some pro-social cover for my increasing drive to get rich. A childless man with hunger for money is seen as an evil man, but a father with hunger for money is seen as a good man." Okay, so there's a lot in there, right? And I personally think we're dealing with a man that has like quite a few issues and maybe unhealed wounds as well. And yeah, it actually makes my blood boil in some ways, listening to or reading what he wrote, because I think there's much better ways to be a parent. And I do appreciate his honesty, but I'm also inclined to think that maybe there's a little bit of kind of narcissism going on there, and that's also based on his interaction with people within the comments and other things that he's written, right? So there's a lot for him to kind of work on himself in terms of just his own kind of growth. And I don't think he's he's maybe necessarily aware of that yet. Although he kind of like, he writes a little bit about that at the end, but also he kind of justifies his behavior a little bit, because it's like, dads have done this in the past sort of thing. But, he's just giving himself a sort of easy sort of pass there, I think. So this podcast is literally going to just focus solely on dads, moms. We honor everything that you do, and super grateful for that. But, this is just about dads, because, yeah, I am one myself, and I can speak to dads better than I can speak to moms, right? So I think there comes a time in a dad's life or a man's life where he has to cross the Rubicon, right? And he has to go from being a little cub to being a lion, okay? And however, I think there's also many men, unfortunately, who don't do that. They don't make that crossing, especially these days with the sort of almost like feminine characteristics that a lot of men seem to be carrying because of whatever reason society has made us to sort of start acting a little bit weirdly as men. And we have lots of men that are effectively stuck, or like they're boys stuck in men's bodies. And I think to some degree, this guy is one of those guys. When you become a father, it means a whole load of things, right? But to get there, you have to understand that it's going to require a lot of sacrifice. It's going to mean you have to say no to a lot of things that you do want to do, and you're going to have to say yes to a lot of things that you don't want to do. And that's, I guess, comes with responsibility, just in general, right? Yeah. So anyway, and also the older we get, when it comes to play, we seem to have like the playfulness squeezed out of us. And it's due to various reasons, like societal issues, responsibility, etc. However, having a kid, this is your opportunity to learn how to play again, right? To find joy. And you don't even have to make any sort of excuse to play. All it is you're here to look after your children, right? So, yeah, what an opportunity to sort of be young again, young at heart again. Yeah. So anyway, and this is an important thing that when it comes to sort of play, affection, love, that not many people necessarily understand. And I only really learnt about it a few years ago. So when it comes to love and affection, right, you'll see the moms and dads and kids have different ways of receiving it and showing it to each other, right? For a mom, and a child, you'll see that they have like lots of love and affection, in terms of like hugs, and that's their kind of like safe space, and that's where they exchange that love and affection and hormones and stuff. And you'll notice it as a dad, like your child might start crying for whatever reason, or they hurt themselves or something, and they'll run to mommy, almost 99% of the time. And it's because that's where they feel safe, love, affection, when they get their hug from their mommy. Okay. But you mustn't take that personally as a dad. Sometimes it's difficult, definitely. Like you'll be like, oh, come, I'll give you a hug, They'll like scoot around you and kind of go to their mom. But that's okay, because this is where your part comes in, right? So effectively, the same exchange happens with a dad when we play. Okay, so like a mom's hug is the equivalent of a dad playing. That's how they sort of feel it. That's how they feel the love from a dad. It's literally it's like a hormonal exchange. It's like a biological thing. That's how they are showing you. That's how they're receiving it. And so when your kid says, come, let's go and play, it's, they say, come, let's go play puzzle or draw or whatever it is, cars, let's go do that. They're saying, I love you, Dad. Like, come, let's go do this together. And, depending on your reaction, they're either like, accepting the love back and feeling it, or they're feeling rejected. So it's a really important thing to realize, like, this is a biological thing. It's how we're wired. And that's why just playing as a dad with your kid is actually so important. And also remember that your children are here to teach you, right? To teach you almost more than you can teach them. And, that's a hard thing for us to sort of get around, because we think we're the adults and we've got everything sort of sorted and we're going to be their guides and they're going to, we're going to teach them to do this and that. But actually the exchange is, it's at least 50-50, but probably more skewed in their favor in terms of they're going to teach us many things. They're going to remind us, like, the importance of, like, how to be alive, how to have fun, how to experience the awe of life, to notice the small things, to use our imagination. But at this, those are all the sort of like positive things. And they're also going to, point out your kind of weak spots, right? Where you've still got kind of work to do and where you've got like unhealed sort of scars and stuff like that, and whatever issues you might still be holding on to, because you'll realize those ones because you'll react, not necessarily in a positive way when they sort of, they do something. So kids are going to teach you an absolute ton of things, but you've just got to be conscious to this sort of, I guess, this concept, right? So anyway, I also hear like a lot of dads say they get bored and they don't like to play. And that's actually one of the things when it comes to being a dad is you've just got to sacrifice, right? And often in life, it's the things that you don't want to do, the things that you put off, the things that you're avoiding. Those are the things that you must be doing, right? So if you don't feel like, right, you want to go and, play dolls, brushing dolls' hair, or, driving the car and going brum, or like playing Lego, like, that's what you actually must be doing, especially if you're trying to like sort of get away from doing it, like just that there's so many lessons within that, like are you even thinking of the lessons that are in that sort of interaction, like just being present in the moment. These days we're so distracted from everything, but just being present in the moment there, playing with your kids, talking to them, listening to them, asking them questions. Man, it's a absolute field of like lessons and fun and learning experiences. So don't shirk away from those moments, but also at the same time, you don't have to only ever play like kids games, right? Of course not, because it is a two-way street. So essentially your child just really loves hanging out with you. You're like this God to them, you're everything to them, right? So if you want to go and clean the car or build something or do something in the garage, then take your little one with you. It doesn't matter if it's a boy or girl, just take them with you and, get them to be your right-hand man. And, that's now your opportunity where you get to show them something, right? They're never, ever going to forget those moments, like take them into the office, like cheapers, like going into your dad's office is like an experience you'll never, ever forget, right? So, and then, things will take longer if they kind of your right-hand man or little right-hand lady, like it's going to take longer, but that's just the enjoyment of it. That's you being able to, lead them and guide them and explain something to them and bring them into your world as well, So just remember, the more time you spend around your kids as little ones, and the more you get to positively influence their life, the greater the chance is that you're going to have like a deeper, more meaningful relationship with them, in the later years of life, right? And, dare I say it, you might even have like a better behaved teenager than if you had not spent that time, say, playing with them and interacting with them, as a youngster, you just got to constantly remind yourself that you're playing the long game here, right? So yeah, and being a dad is not a responsibility to shirk at. It's not something that you must that farm out to other people to look after your kids, to teach them, etc. This is really, the main lessons and teachings come from the house. And yeah, if you want, I guess like a decent kid with, good manners, good morals, etc., then you must be that influence for them. It's actually an opportunity that you've been blessed with to have like a direct impact in somebody who actually will probably listen to you, and they'll definitely follow you, like in terms of what you do. They're more going to follow you than listen to you. So, act in the right way, because that's really how they're going to behave, is by following what you do. And yeah, just enjoy that you have this opportunity to grow this little human, and to have a real meaningful impact on a life. And yeah, that's just my thoughts on this. Like, I'll put the link to the post that this guy did. It's got, like, I don't know, the other day it had like over 10 million sort of impressions on it, so it's got a bit of traction there, that's for sure. But yeah, just enjoy being a kid again, with your young ones. Get that sense of playfulness and joy and fun back into your life. It's an amazing opportunity to do it. Hope you enjoyed this one. Have a great week. Keep smiling. Be a good influence on the world. And see you soon. Ciao. Bye.